Well, our drywall is in, the plumbing and electrical is done, and our insulation is fit for a king or a savvy cottage owner. We're so close I can taste it.
Let's go!
Rough road, eh? That's why you gotta have a Jeep, eh? It's a Jeep thing, you wouldn't understand it, eh? Most people have Jeeps just so they can park it on their asphalt. Not me, eh? Take her up in the countryside. Actually use the four-wheel drive.
My name is Colin McLean. Work for McLean's Construction. We're doing all the wood siding, soffit fascia. We're strapping the building, putting 2-inch Durafoam on the outside of it. Yeah, it's just the same as with the regular house, like without the foam there. The foam's actually nice because it kind of hides any discrepancy and stuff like that, but it's been no different than any other house. It's a nice design. I like the layout. You know, the efficiency is very nice about it all. You know, another day in Muskoka.
I want to get proper snow pants for sledding. More importantly, I want gloves, man.
Yeah, it's coming along pretty nice. The color's nice, the layout's nice.
Nice product to work with.
Very nice, yeah.
Overall, it's coming along pretty nicely. You know, just working what the weather will allow us. The nice thing about working here is, you know, when it gets cold, you can go inside for 2 minutes warm up.
Very well built. The insulation value in this place is second to none.
Sky high.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of ICFs, and this, I would say this beats the ICFs for holding the heat.
Oh, for sure.
It's unbelievable.
It's amazing. 3,400 watts will actually heat this whole house in the middle of February, and that's unheard of.
That's the definition of efficiency, I would say, right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Along with the excellent windows and doors, some of the windows actually take the solar and create heat inside.
They're actually made to put the sunlight into the floor, so the floor actually gets heated from the sun and keeps the building even warmer.
Yeah, it was very well designed for sure.
Yeah, and the layout inside is amazing.
I
would love the master bedroom.
I was just going to say the master bedroom and the master bathroom is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's a fun build for sure.
Yeah, it's nice to be a part of for sure.
It's nice to show up and see things that are thought out to that extent.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, it should be the norm.
It really should.
Yeah.
Especially up here, especially in Muskoka. They should be doing this everywhere. This should be standard.
I wish I could talk my wife into selling our house and buying this one. We've been discussing how to best deal with keeping the water line thawed to the cottage, and we tried a heat line, which is going to be about $3,000 installed, and it's going to use hydro. So we've come up with another solution. I've done some research on the internet. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to wrap that water pipe in typical pipe insulation. Then we're gonna wrap it so it's got almost 3 inches around it, wrapped up with insulated stuff. We're gonna tape it all up. Then I'm gonna take the foot valve off of the pipe, which is the one-way valve that doesn't allow the water to go back into the lake. We're gonna take that off, and I'm gonna feed this copper wire up, and then we're gonna put the whole assembly wrapped in insulation into this pipe to protect it and also hold the insulation, and we'll make it so we gotta kind of jam it in here. Then what's gonna happen is that copper wire is going to take heat from the bottom of the lake and transfer it up the line, and then the pipe will be in an insulated area, and this should in fact make it so that our water line doesn't freeze, and it's very inexpensive to do this, and it also has no maintenance fee and electricity. Plus we don't have to worry about if the hydro goes out or anything. It's going to be doing its own sort of geothermal heating within that line, and yeah, cross our fingers. I think it's going to work though. We finally got our windows in. We've been waiting for so long for these things to show up, and they were late, but are they not glorious? And is that view not amazing? Are you seeing that? The whole entire lake, you can see anywhere you're standing in the room. That being said, it came with a price. When the windows finally did come, it was snowy, and we're trying to drive a dump truck to go and get these very expensive windows, and we're having to get a run like full speed at every hill. The truck's fishtailing. These windows are heavier than I could have ever imagined. I've seen videos, people saying, oh, we put in the passive house windows, and they were really heavy. 2 people could not lift this 4 by 6 foot window up with all our might, and I promise you, you, I work out my biceps and I can usually do something like that. They've got different glazings too, especially the east and west were super heavy. So whatever glazing it is that they use on this, I don't know if it's like a super thick bulletproof tempered glass, but I'm telling you, it's heavy. The east and west windows have one particular glazing that allows some solar energy to come into the house, but it also focuses on R value. The windows on the north side are not focusing on letting sun energy into the building. They're focusing on keeping any heat in the building in the building. The ones on the south side sacrifice a little bit of their R value or U value for keeping the heat in, but they allow solar energy to come in. So in the winter time when the sun is lower, it's gonna shine right through those double doors and come in and heat up this concrete slab, which will then distribute the heat everywhere and moderate the temperature of the home. So it's really cool. You can tell on like a nice day, it's like the floor's warm. The heat doesn't even click on already, and we didn't even have all the windows in -3, and it's super nice temperature inside. All right, so here's our window trim. It's all homemade stuff from flat stock. This is made from 1x12. We've cut this down, but it's still nice and thick, so we're gonna have a nice sill to put plants on or whatever we want. It's nice having that extra insulation. It gives you something that looks really substantial there. Then we just use a piece of flat stock on the bottom, piece of flat stock on either side, and then we've got 2 moldings with a piece of flat stock in the middle. The lower molding is I've just taken some cheap strapping that is already rounded, cut it in half, and I'll just sand the ends round so that it matches the same profile as that. Then we'll put a flat board, and then we'll put our crown on top. The crown is a 2-inch strip of wood with the same profile routed that is in our baseboard. So see, that matches that, but it looks completely different when you put it up there. So that's what's known as a paneling router bit, often for doing kitchens or recessed doors. But the only other bit that we used was on the windowsill. I used a round bit and I had to go over it twice. So I did one side of the board and then I did the other side of the board, and that just gives us the nice round edge. And the cool thing about this house is it's got 11 windows and they're all the same size. So once I've done one window and I've got all the pieces measured properly, I just run it into a jig and cut 22 pieces of this, 22 pieces of this, 8 pieces of that, you know, and it's a way to streamline it. So we're doing something fancy, but it's not taking us forever in a day. We're working on preparing our door jambs. We bought a bunch of doors from the Restore. So Ryan's ripped all this jamb, which is 4.5 inches. So it's basically the width of our opening. And now we're gonna router our hinges into it. We are using a router in which I got from a garage sale for $5. We're hoping that it works when plugged in. And we had to make our wrench to take that bit off. It's worth it though, hopefully. Routering is not my forte, but we've got so many hinges to put in that I was like, okay, this time we got to set up the jig and we got to router these hinges out. So
it's fun. Yeah, he's a fun guy for sure. Yeah, easy to work with.
check out these doors, right? 55 bucks a door, reduced because I paid for all of them at one time to $35 on sale day. And they don't even have the hinges cut into them or anything. So they're probably a wrong size or someone changed their mind, whatever, but I like them. And the good thing is they're a simple profile, so we can make the additional door or two that we need for the design. And yeah, I'm pretty pumped about that. So we just got to make our jams. We're going to be making them out of these little jams right here, which we're using for the ceiling. We're going to be throwing these 1 foot wide rough sawn boards on the ceiling everywhere. We're doing that for looks and for ease of construction. Finishing drywall on the ceiling really stinks. It also means you gotta finish that top corner. So when we do this, we make it more cottagey. We add some naughtiness, which everybody likes. And that's gonna make the ceiling look, you know, very cottagey. I just said that. The cool thing about this is this stuff is $1 a square foot. So to do the whole cottage ceiling wasn't really that expensive compared to the pain and suffering we would have endured while drywalling. The other cool thing about this is we're gonna use this plain side, this nice smooth side, to make all of our jambs for the doors, and we're also gonna make our trim with it. If we take this board and divide it in two, that means it's only 50 cents a linear foot for some ripping baseboard. Let me show you how we're gonna do that. All right, so step one is cut a board in two. So we take our boards, making man glitter all day long. Now we've got just running a panel mold down here. We've got nice natural pine baseboard for 50 cents a linear foot. Oh, and that's how we pay for this beautiful, efficient house. See, and this is what it's gonna look like when it's done here. Right, it looks rich, right? It's nice doing fancy stuff out of rough wood, right? It's something that a lot of people wouldn't think of. Let's get all fancy pants with this rough, affordable lumber. But that's also what's making this look like a cottage. It would be very easy for us to make this cottage look like a condo.
Back rail for the Ikea kitchen. Basically, there's brackets on the back of the cabinets, and they sit inside this lip. Once you've sat it inside the lip, there's fasteners that keep it stuck here.
I'm just pulling up the Ikea planner on the web. Samantha designed the kitchen, and I know she made a couple last minute changes by the time she figured out where the island's gonna be, and she moved the fridge over, so I just wanna see which cabinet's going where, because we've got them all built, and we're gonna start installing them on the rail. It's the other way, pretty sure. What we're doing is putting the legs onto our corner cabinet. It's gonna hang on that rail on the back side, and then you just got legs on the front so that you can level it up and down.
One pair of legs, right?
Yep. We've got these clips on the back of the cabinets. They hook onto that rail, which is secured on the wall. That keeps the back of all the cabinets perfectly level as long as we put that rail on properly. And then you just level the front of it to tip up the cabinet to make it level. It's like being a kid playing with building blocks, except for at the end of it, your mom doesn't crush it all and put it into a box. At the end of the day here, you get a beautiful kitchen home. And this one is made of recycled materials, which is even cooler. What's handy for almost everything in construction are these lasers that run off of basically a plumb bob. So see in there, it's just something that's hanging. It hangs and it gives you a crosshair, a vertical and a horizontal line. It's perfectly level. So right now I can see the mark. Gord put a mark on the wall where the top rail needs to go. I'm just gonna line this laser up at that mark from here. I'll just put a screw in and hold the height here. So now we can mount our second rail there. That will hang the pantry, and then there's also some cabinets that are going to be hanging on that as well, I think. I know what it's looking like. It looks like, wow, is it ever easy to build a cottage? This guy doesn't have anything that ever goes wrong ever. But I'll tell you, there's a couple times I thought I was almost gonna lose my lid. And I wanted to flush it all down the drain. I'll tell you, I almost felt like a little porcelain doll that was gonna cry and shatter. But when you're feeling wiped, sometimes you just gotta sit down and put it all into perspective. Take a little time, and then you can come back feeling strong and powerful and drop it like it's hot. This is, guys, did you meet Dan? This is Dan. Dan's been painting all of the siding. He did all of the ceilings in the shop before he came here. And now he is having to paint all this homemade woodwork and doing the walls.
It's going good. It's sucking back primer, but I mean, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. It's just, well, that's if you want to. You want the primer coat to be thick, so your color coats look really good. Painting and priming. We've done one coat on all the trim, the wood trim, and I'm doing priming on the drywall primer, and that just seals it, and it makes the color coats go on easier, and also protects against mildew and moisture. I usually cut in the color, because if you cut in primer, it's really thick. You can't get the detail out of it, and you have more of a chance of it leaking and running down on like different things like your baseboards or whatnot, right? When I prime, I'll prime just as close as I can get it, and then the second or third, just cover up any imperfections in the corner. Sometimes you need a third coat, but that's rare. Colin did his job right anyway.
So there it is. Siding, windows, ceilings, trim, and paint all done. Our kitchen's coming along too. I hope you'll join us to watch some of the fancy finishing touches happen, because this cottage is about to get all dressed up for the prom. Oh yeah.
Let's go!